was expecting Virat Kohli to turn up along with his RCB team, but I'm afraid a flat RCB team turned out.
Hello everyone, this is the Straight Bat with Gulf News and Mr. Cricket UAE, that is Anis Sarjan. We are here to discuss the IPL where Rajasthan Royals entered the final meeting Royal Challengers Bangalore. Before, we have quite a few crowd here. We have Arjun Singh, who is a Chennai supporter who is coming in the guise of a RCB supporter here. We have Ram Ganesh of Rajasthan Royals. I'm sure he is grinning and he's giving us a salute straight away. And we also have A.K. Satish, who is the sports editor of Gulf News. Over to Anis Sarjan to take us through the match.
Thank you, Sham. Hello, Satish. Hello, Arjan. And hello, Ram Ganesh. With a lot of expectation, I decided that I'm going to see this game, and I flew all the way, taking a late night flight, landed today early morning at 4. Did not get any sleep, but then I was expecting Virat Kohli to turn up along with his RCB team, but I'm afraid a flat RCB team turned out at the Motera Stadium, and it was like one team totally walking over through, that is the Rajasthan Royals, and RCB, it seems like had given up the game even if the match in the middle overs. Very, very disappointing performance by RCB.
But Satish, it didn't look like the semi-final, isn't it?
Absolutely, Sham. Absolutely. I think if you look at it, a total of 50 balls changed the entire match. The 5 overs or the 4 overs towards the end of Bangalore, from where they scored about 27 runs in 27 balls. And then the second one is when they bowled. I think that's where they should have put in a little bit more effort and ensured that Rajasthan did not get to a good start. But as usual, Siraj started leaking runs, and first over started with some 12 odd runs, and in 5 overs of 60 runs. I think that's where the match was lost. Had it been a better performance in both the places, things could have gone even more closer, because with the Butler scoring 100 of 60 balls, none of the other batters could come to grips with the wicket, or they were not able to score freely. So things could have gone differently had they put in some more effort by Bangalore.
Arjun, you're batting for RCB today. Tell us, what would you have done anything different today?
First of all, RCB's batting, when in 12 overs, they were at around 102, okay? You would have expected them to make at least 200 runs. They didn't turn up, and eventually they let their fans down, I guess. They couldn't get the total that they achieved. But even if RCB hit 200 runs, I bet you Butler still would have chased it down. And to speak about the way the wickets fell, of course, Krishna and McCoy took 3 wickets each. That was great for them. But I don't think Prashant Krishna should be in the Indian team. I'm not saying they're considering it, but if they are, he shouldn't be in the Indian team. He doesn't look confident enough to be in play in a national level kind of spectrum. Now, talking about the bowling, I really want to talk about Siraj, okay? He has been, for the past few matches, he's not played that well. And let me show you some stats here. Past 5 matches, Siraj's economy. Versus CSK, 11. Versus SRH, his economy was 9. Versus Punjab, his economy was 18. In the eliminator, versus Gujarat, he didn't play. And RCB won them. So thank God he didn't play. But in the eliminator, in the eliminator, 10.25, and it was a very, very close match. Today, 15.50. I think they should honestly drop Siraj now.
I mean, now dropping wouldn't help.
They dropped themselves.
Thank you, Arjun. You have taken pains to put together what has been a miserable run for Siraj. We've been talking about Siraj's miserable form, and Anis, I have been commiserating with his form. So what a fine bowler, but he didn't have that season which you would have expected of him. Ram, okay, I just take exception to what Arjun said about Prasidh Krishna, but I think Prasidh Krishna and Obed McCoy set up the win for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think to come back after being hit for 3 sixes, as Sangakkara said, I mean, he had been belted for 3 sixes. He lost the match, which we should have won. So to come back from that, turn it out in 2 days, and bowl the way he did, I think kudos to that. You have to give him credit. He's bounced back well. And I was actually looking at the scores at the point against when they were playing against LSG. Around at the 15th over, RCB were 125 for three, and they ended up scoring 207. And today again, they were 125 or something for three at the 15th over. But the 5 overs where they scored 85, and the 5 overs where we just completely hamstrung them, that was the difference in the match. And then though it was just so amazing seeing Butler back to the way he was, because in the previous match when he came back to form, yes, he was scratchy for almost 40 balls, and only towards the end did he come out. Today he came out being the Butler that we know he is. So it's dangerous signs for the rest of the teams. And I'm just glad we got vindicated. I mean, I was predicting we'll face LSG, but I mean, end of the day, either or, we're going back to the finals. We're going back as a much more happier side. We have got one more benefit now is we have seen the
Also taken some lessons from Kane Williamson, who went on to win the first so many tosses.
yeah. So
anyway, Ram, just save some of your ammunition for later in the show. Let me get back quickly to Anis. Anis, after the first over from Siraj, Rajasthan never looked like losing the match, isn't it? Anis, yes.
I think we have. Is he there?
Yeah, I think we lost him. Satish, let me put that question to you. I mean, first try in the first over, Siraj conceded 16 runs. That is two, including 2 sixes. After that, in fact, it was Jaiswal who laid it to him. After that, Rajasthan never looked losing, isn't it?
No, Sham. They made their homeworks right, because they came with a plan. They were throwing the bats around and they were taking their chances. If you look at, there were a couple of close chances for Butler and Jaiswal, but they went for it because they knew that if they get a good start, it's an advantage for them, because the overall the runs were not too much, and they also saw that the old ball was not coming onto the bat well, so that's why they must have gone on the assault in the first few overs to make the most of the new ball. So from that was a good plan. They played. Mentally, they played that game better and won it. I would say that way, because even when Bangalore was batting in the last 5 overs, I think at 15.3 overs, they were 130. And the last 5 overs, they gave about 27 balls, 27 runs, because they didn't bowl at the areas which Dinesh Karthik or even Patidar would love to play that shot. They bowled at the areas where it was uncomfortable for them. At the same time, when they came to bat, they played. They took their chances, went after it, and then they bought it. It's a wonderful performance by Rajasthan, for sure.
Very different. I mean, we have never seen him so dominant in this tournament so far. This is perhaps their best show so far. Arjun, coming back to you today, Patidar again to the rescue, second 50 in a row, but he was not the same player we saw in the previous match. Tell us your impressions.
We have a problem.
Anis, you still with us? Can you hear us?
No. I'll try and log in again. You'll continue.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Go ahead, Arjun.
Of course, Patidar had the pressure to bat first. Of course, try pressurizing. The first couple of balls are really stressful. You don't know how the ball is gonna ball. Maybe a slow one, and you get a call. You need to stay focused if you're batting first, and I think that put a lot of pressure on him. I think he shouldn't bat first. He's more of a 1 down, 2 down player. He can't open for RCB. RCB needs an opener.
Okay, I think we have lost Anis, so let's get back to Ram. Ram again. But Patidar actually even had survived 2 chances, isn't it? In fact,
it was survived
if it was not for his knock, they would have even struggled actually.
Yeah, it was actually and was one of our best fielders. Parag who actually
Ian
dropped
Parag.
13 at 13, and it was a blessing in disguise, because after that he was the only batsman from RCB I felt who was actually looking dangerous, because Maxwell came in, he hit a few sixes, but we knew that he was going to go off. And after that, the people who I was most afraid of, Rajasthan bowled brilliantly to them. DK never got off, Shahbaz never got off, and these were the people who actually took the game away from us for the first time. So I think Rajasthan has done their homework. They came back with a vengeance after that loss. I think they were hurting. So I think somehow I felt, as Anish Bhai said before, it never felt like RCB were in it to win it. They almost gave up after the fact that they could not put up that score. Usually, you see them pumped up from the first over. You see, we did talk about Kohli's aggression. We do see him, even if it's a low score, even if it's a case of a 150 score, he will pump his players up. He will be aggressive on the field. You saw when he actually took Jaiswal's catch, he just took the catch and put the ball down. There was no aggression, there was no celebration. It almost felt like they had given up in their minds. You saw the catch that DK dropped. That was a regulation catch, and they looked shell shocked. I feel that's what happened. The entire team looked shell shocked. There was so much expectations from them, and I guess they just didn't find that in the halfway stage that they had a great start, and they just gave up before the second half even began.
So Satish, just to take off from what Ram said, they were shell shocked, isn't it? Because after that initial assault, they were never the same team it was. Even before that, I think in the slog, when Bangalore were batting in the slog, there was a shot when they showed Kohli's face, and it's not the normal Kohli. Kohli, we, like Ram said, we know that aggression is still there, but they had lost the match long before they even kicked the field again when Rajasthan batted.
Yeah, Sham. I think the wicket of, when you the incident that you are talking about, that's the wicket of Maxwell. I think when Maxwell got out, they realized that they will not be able to push that big scores, because none of the batters were getting the timing right, because the wicket was not the perfect wicket where you can come and play the shots. So you need time to settle down and play your shots. And thanks to Patitar, who continued to play and get a 58, it was not a good wicket, easy wicket to bat on. And yes, that's what, the couple of wickets there, I think both Dinesh Karthik and Lomore almost went in succession. So that's where they lost another momentum there as well. So it was not the day for Bangalore. At least some of the shots, like when Siraj went for that catch, if he had taken that catch of Butler early, it would have been a different game. Or when Dinesh Karthik, even if Dinesh Karthik had taken that catch at that point in time, things could have been different, because you're looking at only 11 balls. Despite such an assault by Butler, they won with 11 balls to spare. So things could have been different had Butler gone early. Maybe another 2 more wickets. Who knows? They would have gone into a bit of a pressure, because chasing is always going to be a difficult one on a knockout game.
Sorry, Satish, I had to leave. I had a problem with my internet. I'm back.
No worries. We will pick you from there. We were just talking about how Bangalore were never in the game, and also one of the best illustrations was his regulation catch dropped by Dinesh Karthik. Butler was 67. Satish feels that maybe if that catch was taken, maybe when Bangalore would have come back into the match. What do you think?
You know what? You can say in hindsight, but by that time the damage was already done. When you are defending a target of less than 160, you need to go for the kill and get Hazelwood and probably Hasranga on from one side. I know there was a left-hander batting, but you won't get Siraj, who gets hammered, and in the power play, I'm afraid he's not the right bowler. On what grounds you give him first over, he goes for 16. Again, you give him the second over, he goes for 15. By that time, the game is done and dusted. You are not defending 200 like you were defending against Lucknow, where you could have the luxury. I feel Faf du Plessis missed the trick here. I don't know what, but you have to, if you want to win a game where you have scored 160, you need to go for the kill. You can't wait for Christmas. And in the end, we could see that.
I'll come back to Satish again because Anis is thrown up a very interesting point. Because fast Duplessis' captaincy was not exactly at his best. Satish, your impressions and tell us where all the missteps he made today.
Straight away you could have gone thought differently, isn't it? The same Siraj, same Hazelwood, same regulation. If you look at he brought in Maxwell, who's given away 17 runs in 3 overs. Maybe you could have opened with Maxwell. Who knows? See, these maybe an Australian, two Australians bowling to an Englishman. They could play psychologically. They could play the game. So you could never know. Like maybe Jaiswal could play across the line. You should think differently. Number one, and even the field set, if you look at it, was the regulation field set, 4 people on the edge of the circle. There was no slip, nothing. Whereas when Rajasthan played, they had 2 slips, they had a leg slip. They thought about it. So that's what I said earlier also. They won the psychological battle better today than RCB. They did their homework right. They got their A game today, and they did whatever the plan was. And for each and every person, they had the plan right, and they executed the plan well.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please go ahead, Arjun.
I agree with Mr. Sargent, and I think you guys forgot one thing. So you know that coffin dance meme? Siraj got the wood for the coffin, but Shehbaz Ahmed made the coffin. Siraj made Butler so confident, and then Siraj got the blame because he got hit from Butler.
Thanks, Arjun. But RCB spinners were doing so well till this match. I mean, they except Hasaranga for a brief spell, nobody looked threatening. Coming quickly back to Ram again. I just lost a train of thought right here because Satish made an interesting point about how Rajasthan planned each batsman's dismissal. I mean, like I also said earlier, that we saw a totally different Rajasthan. Do you think there's something? Tell us something about the plans which went into it.
I think in terms of the way we ended the game compared to last match, I guess we got the right people bowling right overs. I still feel that Prasid bowling 19 and Ubaid McCoy bowling the last over is the best. I think out of the entire lot of bowlers we've got, I think McCoy is the best death bowler we have got, and he's proven that in the last 2 matches, even though he was a little nervous in the last match. I think what we also did was we didn't bowl to their strengths. So if you look at Karthik's wicket, if you look at the wickets we got in the end, we got our execution right this time. You look at the wicket of Karthik, the one that got him out. You look at the Yorker that got Hasaranga out. So you look at all these people who got out. Rajasthan planned their wickets to make sure they don't bowl to their strength. You give something in the slot for because the Karthik stands very deep in his crease. So you got him. You got a plan against him, and I felt that this time we came with a plan for each and every batsman, each and every player. Stood up, they performed. I still feel one thing that has changed in the last few matches is our spinners are not getting the wickets, but today our fast bowlers stepped up big time. I feel now for the last at least for the last 3-4 matches, Yuzvendra Chahal has been getting a lot of stick. So I'm hoping that he comes back in the finals and reclaims the purple cap. But I think it's a good sign to see that we are starting the bowling well. We've got Trent Bolt in good form, making sure that we get that power play. We don't give it away in the power play. We get wickets in the power play. It's a smart move to finish off Bolt. We have identified that Bolt is not a death bowler. He cannot. We've identified that. The one thing which I feel is a little dicey is how we are using Chahal, because Chahal is not the right guy to be bowling death overs and after 15th overs. So that is where I guess we are still doing some experimentation. I mean, I'm thankful that it did not bite us in the back today, but hopefully in the finals we get our bowling right. I feel the way it should work is we start off with Prasid and Bolt, then Ashwin and Yuzvendra Chahal should bowl in tandem, and then we finish with our fast bowlers. I think that more or less is the format that we followed, and I hopefully that we'll continue with that in the finals.
I'll just add one point to Ram Naresh. Like he mentioned that the innings where RCB were in the last game against LSG after 15 overs. That catch of Butler in the boundary, in that there was already 1 6 hit. Had that 6 gone, there are no ifs and buts. But that catch, I would say, stemmed the momentum. And after that, Patiter's dismissal, RCB never got going.
I'll add another one. If you look at again, this is where tactical mistake RCB made. Maxwell got out to the last ball for Bolt. If that was a last ball of his 4th over and he played a pull shot where he could have easily gone for a 2 or something, then you are looking at Chahal and other spinners coming and bowling, which he could have thrashed the spinners. So that's where Maxwell lost it also, because if he had waited that one ball, so he could have
Everyone
gone
lost.
ahead.
Anis, I mean, the general consensus emerging is, Rajasthan completely outthought Bangalore. Is there anything different Bangalore could have done today?
Well, very honestly, when in T20 is such a cruel game, that if you are over the top of other team, there's nothing the other team can do. But here today, which I felt that after you've got 160, less than 160, you should have gone for the kill. And there is a problem with Butler and leg spinners. Rashid Khan has got the better of Butler. I would have seen Hazelwood from one side and Hasranga from other side. I know it's very easy at the back of the end match. We can come as arm experts and talk, but you can't give 2 fast bowlers on a platter to Joss Butler.
Especially it's not bowlers like Siraj.
Yeah, and in fact, the first 3 overs actually
5 over 61 runs, Sham. 5
But I was at the stadium and I couldn't see not even one emotion from any of the players. They had just given up.
True. Absolutely.
Mr. Sarjan,
Arjun, you have anything to add, Arjun?
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Sarjan. At this stadium, what was it like? I know it was in Gujarat. So was it like Rajasthan, next door neighbors, RCB, or just Gujarat Titans instead in the finals?
No, of course, there is a lot of noise being made about Gujarat Titans in the final. But today, let me be very honest, everybody came for Virat Kohli, unfortunately disappointed. But when they realized that RR is walking through, the tables turned and everybody was talking about RR. But even when Samson fell, there was a huge cry thinking that RCB might bounce back. But by that time, the damage was done.
Yeah, true. Absolutely. And also Padikkal ensured that there was no further wickets for a while, at least another 30 runs. So that actually evaporated all the rest of the hopes.
Yeah, I had one question as well to Tony's bye. Do you think it was a reaction of like as I said, I felt RCB was shell shocked. Do you think that is what happened, where they just couldn't recover from that, or what? Or did you say that there was a general lack of intent or whatever it was from RCB? Do you think it was a forced thing as a reaction to what happened in the 15th over, or did you just see that they were down from the start itself?
No, I wouldn't say they were down from the start itself. They had an average of around 8.2 or 8.3 when Patidar got down. You have to give credit to RR bowlers. They bowled the right line, and as you said, they did not give them DK the shots which he likes to hit. They did not give him room, and they slowed down the pace. If you see McCoy, he was absolutely phenomenal. And due credit to Prasidh Krishna, the ball which he got, Hasaranga, and the bouncer which he put up on the third ball, it was sheer pace. And I tell you, this boy has talent. Sometimes we judge players on the basis of one performance when they go for 3 6s. But this is a very cruel game. You might get hit for 20 runs. But what you need to see is the talent of a player. And Prasidh Krishna is one talent we need to back him.
And the swing that he could generate, that stunned Patidar, that was brilliant.
And he was touching 150 today. So very good performance from them. In fact, like I said earlier in the show, that it was Prasidh Krishna and Obed McCoy who set up the win, actually. And Butler provided the finishing touches. Now, they go on to play the Gujarat Titans in the final. Anis bhai, before we get into there, let's have the competition, the details of the competition.
Well, we've had 73 games. Most of them have gone to the wire except today. But the best part about it is that every day you get a chance to win apparel kit as well as 1 year's digital subscription of Gulf News. Log on to your page. The final match coming up. Hope you can get it right. We all know what you guys are going to go for the finals, but you never know if our turn up on that day. who knows what's going to happen. The pressure is definitely going to be on RR because they have been beaten twice by the Gujarat Titans. Not going to be easy, and they are playing in Gujarat. So it's going to be 100,000 people against RR.
Okay, let's do our predictions. Arjun, who will win on Sunday?
I think on Sunday it'll be Gujarat. You know, it's their home ground. I think Hardik has a better chance of winning this one, and I'm just gonna enjoy the match. I mean, CSK is not playing.
Okay, Ram, I know your answer, but tell us what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I think RR has 100% record of winning the finals whenever we have reached there, because we've only gone there once.
That's a damn good one.
You can also add a tribute to Shane Warne will be an added motivation.
Absolutely. And that's what even Butler just said. This is going to be for Warney. So I think it will be a great tribute to him. Good luck to us. I think it's a great turnaround for the last few seasons. We have been 7-8-7. So I think it's great to be back in the top. So good luck to us. I'm going to be backing us in Hala Bowl.
Okay, Ram, Satish has been the most anti-RR among all our guests here. And so
no,
Satish,
but Sham, I gave the Devil its due today. They played brilliant.
I absolutely agree. I agree. But I'm saying there's been a pattern over the last 70 matches, 70 or more matches. So that's been you've been pretty much an anti-RR too. So your final, Gujarat Titans or Rajasthan Royals?
I would go with Gujarat Titans because they have a full-fledged team which is well-rounded, just like the way RCB, but they have performed better, and I would say they are. I'll have to back based on the talents and the performances in the past. I will back Gujarat, and I'll go with Gujarat Sham for sure, and with the home support as well.
Okay, Ani, so you're the most neutral person here. Tell us who will win.
I'll be very honest, Sham, and as much as I want, RR can give a fight, but you are playing against a team which is high on confidence. These guys have already lost twice to them in the league phase. I'm not going to see you have to play out of the skin. And if this is the time where Samson will have to put his hand up, yes, I'm there. Because if you get hold of Josh Butler, I'm afraid RR is looking down the barrel. So if there are no ifs and buts, but Sanju Samson has to put his hand up. No, I'm going to win this game for my team. And that's been the best fitting tribute to Shane Warne.
Anis bhai, actually, Sanju gets 100 every year. And this year he has not scored one. So maybe it's the final.
It's the final. I hope so. Because this is the time. If it's not now or never, let's be very honest. He's been pathetic throughout this tournament.
Yeah, and I think for Ram, it requires a new auction for RR to win. I think because the first time in the first auction they won it, and now after 14 years, another new auction RR is winning.
That's very good.
So I think every time you need a new auction.
But what has Gujarat done wrong? They've not done anything wrong. They have been
yeah, absolutely. No, I'm just telling in Ram's favor. Just to.
What is the weakness of Gujarat? Can anybody point out? Sham, can you tell? Is there any weakness? Is there any chink in their
I don't see.
Right now, no. But the thing is, the only way they can overcome Gujarat is the way RR played today. I think if they can put such a dominant performance, because they bowled very well today, they batted out of their skins today. So if this is, it's a very rare phenomenon especially coming from Rajasthan, because they have a habit of winning 2 matches and losing another 3. So that inconsistency is being their second name, I would say. But from here, I can see we have three Gujarat backers and 1 Ram. Of course, Ram is the only one. So I know the whole dice is loaded in favor of Gujarat. One thing is the home ground. They're going to have the whole backing of the team of the home spectators, really. And secondly, if you look at Gujarat's performance through the tournament, it's just been completely dominating. I mean, in fact, the 5 matches they lost in between, where some of them were very close as well. So, in terms of performance, they are head and shoulders above Rajasthan. But Rajasthan being the underdogs, I'm going to back the underdogs, but provided if they play like today. If they play like today, they can
Yes.
beat Gujarat.
Correct.
Because they plan for all the batsmen. They produce a brilliant bowling, especially in the death. Because like Anish Bhai said earlier, when Patidar was left, it was something like 133. That is in the 13th or 14th over or 15th over, if I
15th
remember
over,
right.
Sham. 15.3.
15.3. That is when Patidar left.
130,
So
30 for
almost in 5 overs, they just scored only 20. So that's which speaks very well of Rajasthan's death bowling, something which they have not done throughout this tournament. So, which I'm saying, if they can reprise this performance, certainly Rajasthan will win. That's the only way Rajasthan can win. Otherwise, Gujarat all the way. So let's wait for Sunday and find out. Thank you all for joining us. And for the latest updates and breaking news, please log on to gulfnews.com and all our social media channels. Thank you very much for tuning
Thank
in.
you.
Good night.